off the hiring merry-go-round. Resumes don't predict success. You can be fooled in the interview, and candidates you thought were great only end up being average. When you find the right person for a role, magic happens. But how do you find the right personality in a sea of resumes? Introducing Traits, a world-class pre-employment personality assessment tool built to revolutionize how you hire and align your people. Say goodbye to the draining process of sifting through endless resumes. With Traits, you'll quickly identify top candidates and make more informed decisions based on comprehensive, data-driven reports. We've worked with hundreds of organizations and have taught them how to consistently hire top performers using our performance-related insights. We start by defining the personality of the job, ensuring your team is crystal clear on what they're looking for. Then, all candidates go through the Traits questionnaire, and we rank them according to fit. We uncover the risks of each one so you can make a confident hiring decision. Traits is backed by a team of experts that provide exceptional support throughout your hiring journey. From customizing the job model to providing insightful interview and reference questions, we're here to ensure your success. So why gamble with your organization's future? Choose Traits. Find the right people and unlock the true potential of your team. Visit www.traits.com to learn more about how Traits can transform your hiring process.
Welcome, everyone. It's great to have you here today. I'm Candace. I'm a Client Development Manager with Concord Consulting. My role is to support organizations in enhancing performance, leveraging their greatest asset, their people. So if you have a moment, using the chat, I'm curious as to who's here with me today, as well as what drew you to join us in our topic. Just a note before we dive in, you may have already received your participant workbook. Don't worry if you didn't get it or if you prefer not to use it. It's not required, but it can be useful to capture your thoughts, key takeaways, or anything that you want to follow up later. At Concord, we work with organizations to align talent with strategy. Whether it's hiring, leadership development, or succession planning, our goal is to help companies make people decisions with confidence. We use a psychometric tool called Traits to uncover what influences and motivates performance and ensures that people are in the right roles that elevate their contributions across the board. Here's what we're aiming to cover. We'll break down each of the 7 core working traits, look at what happens when there's a misalignment, and reflect on how that human blueprint impacts performance. You also get a feel for how Traits tool enables teams to use insights to work smarter, not harder, be more strategic in terms of performance, and how that aligns with organizations and their people. According to Gartner, the top priorities for 2025 are clear: modernize our talent management to align with shifting skill needs, accelerate leadership readiness, and grow talent engagement and performance. These aren't just HR priorities, these are strategic business imperatives. By 2030, 85 million jobs could go unfilled globally, and not because people aren't available. As technology transforms how we work, the value shifts towards human strengths and adaptability, strategic thinking, and the ability to lead and collaborate across changing contexts. This isn't about filling roles, it's about understanding the talent that you already have. Despite pressures to fill roles faster and smarter, only 18% of our HR leaders feel confident their organizations are effectively moving talent internally. And here's the kicker: only 8% of our HR leaders believe that they have the reliable data on their workforce skills. So we're really flying blind. We're trying to make high-stakes people decisions without the insights we need to understand what someone is truly capable of. Within 18 months into a role, many organizations begin to see performance challenges surface. It's often not lack of capability. The result of that, nearly half of new hires fail, often not because they lack skill, but because of how they work. How they're wired doesn't align with what the role really demands. Stepping into leadership amplifies that risk. 40% of our new leaders fail. And the executive level, up to 70% fail. Think about the financial and people implications of that. This is where understanding our working traits becomes a really strategic advantage in an organization. So here's a quick question for you to reflect on. Drop your thoughts into the chat if you have a moment to do so. When performance breaks down on your team, what's usually the root of that? Is it lack of skill, miscommunication, mindset, personality? Just think about that for a second. Now, if you're like most leaders I work with, it's rarely about effort. It's more often about misalignment. Someone's style or approach just doesn't quite fit the role, the task, or the team dynamic. And that's exactly what we're here to unpack today. Let's start with the truth that's often overlooked. Most performance issues aren't about lack of effort. Think of performance like an iceberg. What we tend to see above the surface are things like communication, style, change agility, task focus, and follow through. But underneath the surface is where the real drivers live. That's the foundation that shapes how people work, how they're motivated, how people lead, and how we respond under pressure. If we only manage talent decisions based on what's visible, we're missing the root of what's really going on with people. So now that we've looked beneath the surface, beyond behavior and results, let's bring this to life. I want to walk you through a few scenarios where performance breaks down. As you listen, think less about what the person is doing and more about why. Why are they showing up that way? What's going on underneath that surface? Here's a really common one. We have a top performer, individual contributor who's promoted into a leadership role. Suddenly, deadlines slip, decisions stall, team output drops. Let's pause for a moment and think about what's happening here. Person didn't change, the role did. They're still showing up the same way, but it no longer works. Now we've got a well-liked salesperson. They're great at building rapport, maintaining relationships, but they really struggle with active, proactive outreach and are failing with aggressive growth targets. They hesitate with the approach to new business development. So I want you to ask yourself, what's the behavioral tension at play here? Here's another one. Many of us have seen this. It's this visionary leader who brings this bold energy, brings great ideas, but they leave behind a trail of confusion and chaos. Teams are excited, energized, but without clear plans or follow through, deadlines start to get missed. This raises a really critical question. What makes a visionary also a potential bottleneck? Take a moment. I want to know which of these scenarios feel most familiar to you. Maybe you've seen it in your team. Maybe it sounds a little bit like your own experience. These are really common breakdowns in performance. They're about tension between how someone is designed, the characteristics they bring to the role, with the tension point of what the role demands. That's where the 7 working traits come in. These are the foundations of how we work, how we lead, decide, communicate, focus, and what we're motivated by. How do we draw out those unique superpowers in every single person? When you understand them, you can decode performance and design roles, teams, and development paths that actually fit with the way people naturally work. So let's break that down a little bit more. Assertiveness. Assertiveness is all about how someone relates to direction, control, and decision-making. On the high end, you'll see individuals who take charge, drive performance, and are comfortable leading others towards results. They challenge the status quo, make bold decisions, and are energized by setting the pace. On the lower end, you're going to see individuals who prefer to collaborate, support group decisions, and work behind the scenes. They're accommodating, cooperative, and avoid confrontation in favor of harmony. Neither end is better. It's about fit and fit for role. Decoding that into understanding assertiveness helps you align performance, especially when you're thinking about succession, mobility, or potential leadership within your organization. Let's move to the next trait, sociability. Sociability is about where we draw our energy from. Is it from people or from tasks? High sociability shows up in people-focused, persuasive roles. Lower sociability are more productive being task focused. They get results through personal effort rather than team dynamics. Thinking about people you work with, what outcomes rely on influence and relationship building, or which outcomes rely on technical precision and self-direction. Let's move to the next trait, pace. Pace reflects how people prefer to work. Fast-moving and dynamic, or steady and methodical. Lower pace brings an energy and urgency. They thrive on variety. These individuals move quickly, respond well under pressure, and are energized by change. Higher pace brings this calm, focus, and patience. These individuals prefer structure. They take time to reflect and work best in predictable environments. Neither is better, but a mismatch here can lead to burnout or boredom. Detail orientation. This is a trait that reflects how someone approaches structure, precision, and the finer points of execution. Individuals high in detail orientation are orderly, they're organized, they're methodical. They build structure, focus on accuracy, and thrive in hands-on, process-driven work. Those lower on this trait are bigger picture thinkers. They don't get bogged down in the details. They are comfortable operating with ambiguity in fluid environments. So think, does a role or the person in it require structure and precision? Or do they need comfort? Or are they comfortable navigating ambiguity and change? Do they break the rules or do they follow them? Let's move on to our secondary traits, behavioral adaptability. This measures how quickly someone can flex and shift across tasks, people, or adjust and change to others. When someone's higher on the scoring, they're resilient and agile. They adjust quickly and stay steady when shifts and changes happen. When someone's lower on this score, they prefer consistency. They lean into rhythm and predictability. When that gets shaken up, they get shaken up. So ask yourself, when things change unexpectedly, does it energize this person or create stress? Is it a push out of where they thrive, or is it a push into where they flourish? Emotional control. High scores tend to be calm, logical, steady, even in high pressure situations. Their responses are measured and direct. Lower scores are more emotionally expressive, empathetic, intuitive. They pick up on tone, energy, emotional undercurrents that often feel things deeply, or they often feel things deeply. Ever wonder why someone seems emotionally reactive or why someone else stays cool and calm under pressure? So let's flip this from the person to what the job needs. Does the job require steadiness, high stakes situations, or is emotional presence and relational required to be a depth of the role? Let's look at the last trait, creativity. Creativity is all about curiosity and playing with it. The approach someone uses in how problems are solved and the solutions that they consider. High scores look for novel approaches, new ideas, and innovative thinking. Lower scores prefer proven solutions, established processes, and minimizing risk. It's not about who's smarter. It's about what kind of thinking the role values most, or what type of thinking and problem solving does this person need to thrive in. So let's take a moment. Which traits resonate most with you and how you naturally work? And which trait shows up as tension in your current role? Or perhaps it's causing tension with someone around you. Drop a word or two into the chat if you're able to. This is where awareness becomes a strategic organizational edge. So let's bring it back to the iceberg. What we see, behavior, performance, results. This is where it all comes together. Let's come back to those earlier scenarios, looking at the human blueprint. This is where traits makes the invisible visible for you. Is performance and development really about potential? Or is it actually about alignment? When we miss that, we're not just misjudging talent, we're misguiding them. Take this scenario. A top performing contributor gets promoted. They were confident, capable, and consistent. So the next logical step was leadership. But once they were in the role, something started to shift. What we're actually seeing is a misalignment between how they're wired and what leadership now demands. They thrived as an expert. They had clear tasks, personal ownership, predictable workflows, and measurable outcomes. But leadership, as you know, calls for delegation, driving clarity through others, managing ambiguity, and influencing up and down and across, juggling multiple priorities simultaneously. This isn't a skill gap. This is a fit gap. Understanding the trait-driven differences helps people in the right roles elevate their performance. Are we trying to develop people into traits that simply aren't theirs and calling it leadership? Let's look at another example here. This is the sales rep that's fantastic at building trust and maintaining relationships. Clients love them. They create loyalty, connection, but when the role shifts to aggressive prospecting, they hesitate. Lower assertiveness, high sociability, their strengths lie in relationships, not pressure and seeing a bigger challenge as an opportunity. So instead of trying to fix them, let's reframe that question. Where will those strengths deliver the most value? When we align traits, you unlock both performance and engagement. Maybe the real opportunity is to place them where their strength fuels those results. In a client care, retention, or long-term partnership role. When the role fits who they naturally are, we don't need to fix them. We just need to elevate their potential and let them fly. Let's look at another real-life example here. This is that fast-moving visionary, always 5 steps ahead. They're the type of person who's constantly scanning for what's next. Innovation excites them and routines bore them. Low patience, low detail. Here's where the tension starts to show up. They can leave a trail of chaos. Not intentionally, but because their blueprint is to move quickly, jump from an idea to an idea, and not get bogged down with the details. When you anchor them with the right support, that's when the blueprint for performance becomes unstoppable. It allows the visionary leader to keep driving change while the team ensures those ideas turn into action. In a fast-paced, ever-changing environment, not everyone thrives the same way. Some people need clarity, consistency, and a buffer from the chaos to stay productive. It's not always the loudest person you need to worry about. Do you truly understand the blueprint of your team? Do you know who thrives in chaos or those that need consistency? Are you promoting the right people, not just based on performance in their role today, but looking at their potential and the fit for the role for tomorrow? We'd like to hear a little bit more about the challenges that you and your team are facing. So with that understanding, we're here to partner and collaborate and find solutions to address those needs. I want to invite you to reach out to better understand your team's wiring, or if you already know and you have that mismatch, we'd love to be happy to work with you on building out a job model that's better aligned to what the role demands. So let me pause for a moment and just see, are there any questions that have come up? So join me on September 30th. We're going to look at unpacking communication, looking at strength and how that contributes to team collaboration. And that's it. I'm curious, what's one insight that you're taking away from today? I see there's no questions. Certainly, if there's an insight that you're taking away, I'd love to hear what that might be. Okay, well, with that, everyone have an absolutely fantastic day. Thanks so much for taking the time to join me. I'll maybe hang here for a little bit and see if anything does come up.
time to get off the hiring merry-go-round. Resumes don't predict success. You can be fooled in the interview, and candidates you thought were great only end up being average. When you find the right person for a role, magic happens. But how do you find the right personality in a sea of resumes? Introducing Traits, a world-class pre-employment personality assessment tool built to revolutionize how you hire and align your people. Say goodbye to the draining process of sifting through endless resumes. With Traits, you'll quickly identify top candidates and make more informed decisions based on comprehensive, data-driven reports. We've worked with hundreds of organizations and have taught them how to consistently hire top performers using our performance-related insights. We start by defining the personality of the job. Ensuring your team is crystal clear on what they're looking for. Then, all candidates go through the Traits questionnaire, and we rank them according to fit. We uncover the risks of each one so you can make a confident hiring decision. Traits is backed by a team of experts that provide exceptional support throughout your hiring journey. From customizing the job model to providing insightful interview and reference questions, we're here to ensure your success. So why gamble with your organization's future? Choose Traits. Find the right people